how to run a business is a whole different animal. You know, it's like a whole different beast. Like it's just like so many different parts. You know, it's like credit. There's like cash. You got this. So you learn as you go. You know, even now I'm still learning. You know, I haven't learned it all.
Again, you didn't really have a background, right? Like it's one of those like you're finding your way as you go. You know, especially like your father, right? Like you know, I feel like you know everything was on you, right? It was on your shoulders, right? And it's like you know you did the best you can, and you're doing the best you can, and you know again, like you said, you're gonna keep learning things every single day.
Right.
I don't think you ever be a master at anything, right? Every day you can learn something different.
Yeah, that's the beauty of life. You know, you just kind of go and you learn. You know, no matter how old you are, you know you're learning all the time. You know, especially in construction. You know, doing what we do. Yeah. So yeah, we started the business, and then you know just kind of went into construction, I guess, pretty much, you know, doing like foundations, like footers, like concrete, you know. So we've been doing that for the past like, I guess 3 years.
And then don't forget all the hardscape stuff too. That's big money, right? Like all the stormwater, French drains, rain gardens, pavers, all that stuff. You know, it's landscaping, you know, all that stuff, moving rocks,
installing plants,
digging ditches, like all that stuff is crazy expensive. I mean, you charge per linear foot, and you need all these expensive machines, right? That you know, thankfully, you know, I've been seeing. You know, you as an example, it's like you know, you own a lot of your machines, right? And those machines are extremely expensive. And a lot of people still have to rent them, you know, to date. And it's like, you know, you're young, right? And you guys already, you've been able to establish that business or use y'all's profits or, you know, tactics to start owning that equipment, reinvest back into the company, right? And sooner or later, it's like you're going to, you know, you're building a huge, like, empire where it's like, why give that money to someone else when you can, that money can stay within the company, right?
That's right, yeah. And during COVID, like, you know, now that you brought it up, like during COVID, like I was renting some other equipment too. And I rented them out for like all year, you know, for like 12 months. And I did the math and I was like, man, I'm paying this much for renting instead of like buying it. I
bet you came out the same thing, right?
No, it's like, so when you rent, it's like 3 times as much.
Wow.
Than when
Imagine
you buy.
that.
You know?
So essentially it's like in a year's worth, you could have owned 3 of those machines. And, you know, you didn't know the whole credit, you know, getting them out in payments or maybe having to pay them cash, right?
Yeah. So just taking that big jump, because even the bank, because it was like a new company, you know what I mean? So it's like a new company, you know, I don't have much credit because I had just graduated college, you know? So I was just starting to build my credit. And then it was all like a big leap, because it's like I go to the bank is like, all right, we'll you know, you got a little loan of like $50,000 or $80,000, or like we'll give you a $25,000 credit limit on your credit cards, you know? And I was like, man, that's kind of BS, you know? I was like, I'm spending that like, you know, every couple weeks, you know? So it's like I started looking for other resources. That's when I got into like just different credit cards, you know. And I mean, I make the payment every 2 weeks. You know, I pay every 2 weeks. Like I'm not letting the what's it called, just the debt accumulate. You know, like I'm paying it off every couple weeks. You know, but it's just a smart thing to do because your cash flow. You know how some builders like they pay you like every 2 weeks, every month, sometimes 2 months.
Yeah. Especially like, you know, at least with my company that you work for, Central Builders, right? You know, we do a really good job. Is invoices, you know, get paid on the 15th and the 1st, right? So if you put that invoice in, you get cash. But man, there's a lot of builders that are, and I'm just gonna say it, that are real like slimy in the sense of like, you know, they'll try to find any excuse not to pay you, and they'll try to push you out a month, 2 months, right? Because the way they see it is their funds are already short. So if they can get all this work for free, if you mess up one little number, and they don't tell you till like, because they don't tell you till the check day comes, right? And you're waiting for the check to come in, and you know, you're like, hey, the check hasn't come in, right? So it's like one of those like, yo, what's going on? And they're like, oh yeah, no one told you, like, you know, the invoice was rejected, like you forgot a number. I'm like, but why not call like then and there? Like you knew what's up, right? And then then you fix something, and then let's say there was another error, and then because I've literally, because when I used to manage the framing company, I would see that you fix that error, and then you'd submit it again, and then there was another error on there. That like they tell you until another one, so now they pushed you out a month and a half, you know. And it's like, you know, it's not a small amount of money. It's like $15,000, $20,000, $50,000 checks, right? When you're doing multiple projects, dude, like that can ruin a company, right? You got to have a good cash flow or reserves, right, to be able to withstand that, right? Or credit cards, something to hold you out, because you know your workers, if you don't pay them week by week, you know, there's, you know, they're living paycheck to paycheck sometimes. They're out of there, right? Because they can't sit there and wait till, you know, so and so wants to give you that check. It's like, and without your people, you know, you're nothing. You can't do 10 people's jobs, 20 people's jobs. Like it's just impossible, right? So
and there's people like that too, that they don't pay their guys. You know, like there's some people that do that. You know, like I heard of it. You know, I've heard of everything. You know? So it's like it's kind of messed up because like they got families to feed too. You know, so But I'm thankful that I learned kind of like just being cash only, you know, in the beginning. So it kind of teaches you a discipline, you know. And then now that you have the credit card, you tap into a whole different world, you know. So now you got cash and credit, you know. So you're able to use both resources, right? Know? Yeah.
So again, so now we're here, right? It's like, you know, you're doing, you know, the way I see it is like, you know, you're doing really successful. You know, you're working for a ton of people. You have a lot of jobs, machines, right? It's you know, where do you see yourself, right? Like, do you see the business staying, you know, the same, like, you know, for a certain amount of time, or do you feel like, you know, where do you feel like your company's headed towards, like trajectory time wise, right? Like, is there a timeline, like, you know, how you want to expand, or right, is there, you know, any ideas of like, you know, for your company?
So it's like
what your plans, right?
Yeah, it's a good question, because like being owning a business, you know, it's challenging, you know, it's stressful. It's a lot of like different things that go and, you know, come into play, and, you know, just running a business is like it's like a baby, you know, it's like a child. It's like, it's something crazy. But you know, when you're able to manage it all together, you know, kind of sit down and, you know, it's like you're coaching, you know,
right?
You got somebody to do this, somebody to do that, you know, you're gonna do this, you're gonna go here. So that's pretty much what you become, you know. And then so I think the next thing for me is just gonna be just taking that and just getting more people, you know, more employees. Yeah. So it's like a one-man show, you know, you're only gonna get so far, you know. So
you got to start counting on a team, right?
Yeah, you count on a team to kind of take it to the next level, you know.
You get to a point where I've seen where it's like you start investing so much money where the profits, you know, go the other way, where you have that middle spot where, you know, if you don't grow your employees, machinery, equipment, right? You actually start losing money, right? Because it's like you got to make sure that it stays profitable, right? Like within the same margin, right? If you have more stress, more workers, you got to be worth more, right? Because if you have more workers, but it's the same thing, then, you know, the only thing you added was more stress, right? Because now you have more pay and more, so it has to be profitable, right? And in doing so, sometimes you need to get someone else that is going to be more expensive, but you don't have to worry about it all, right? Like completely, like, you know, because of him or his management or her management, you're bringing in all this additional profit, right? After, you know, you discount any of those workers or expenses that you have to account for, right? Because insurance is a thing, right? Workers' comp, right? That stuff goes up as well, right? As you grow.
Right. All that has insurance and different stuff.
That's a whole bunch of complicated stuff.
Bunch of stuff, you know.
So you see yourself growing the business. Now, you know, again, like timeline wise, 5 or 10 years, where do you see yourself? Right, 5-10 year time lapse.
So I can't really say that, you know, and I've always been a person that kind of just takes it, you know, day by day, because you never know what's gonna happen, you know. Like, I'm always optimistic, I'm, you know, positive 100%, but like at the same time you kind of have to, like, you know, watch the economy, like right now, you know, with the interest rates going up, you know. So you're like I'm gonna grow the business, scale the business, but then, you know, like the economy might say otherwise, you know, it might be going to a depression. So it's like
so I'm saving up for a rainy day, right?
Yeah. So it's like it's all these things that having a business you got to think about, you know.
Right.
So it's like I do plan to grow the business, but I can't tell you if it's gonna be in a year, 2 years, you know. Right. If it's gonna be 5 years.
I mean, I feel like you know, you're doing really well. You and your dad are doing very well. And you know, it's just, you know, sort of maybe you know, keeping yourself like on track for maybe a 5-year challenge or a 10-year challenge, right? Like what do you hope to, you know, to see? But, you know, again, like if you stay the same, you know, I don't see why it would be a bad thing, right? And especially again, if you start saving money and you start venturing out to other things, you know, like like that. That's unrelated to your business, right? Where it can be real estate, right? You had told me that you want to go into a little bit more like commercial construction, right? So it's like, you know, you don't. Sometimes you don't want to trap yourself in one with one income, you know.
So that's what I've you know, and I've tapped into other people, you know, other business owners, other people in construction, you know, and like they're like go to commercial, you know, like residential. There's so much pain, so much headache, you know, so much stress, but like commercial, there's big problems, but like, you know, there's a lot